So hello friends, once again I welcome you all here with a new topic, UGC NET paper 1 common paper, and the topic is teaching aptitude. Certainly this topic is very much easier, but at the same time it is a tough one because we should have common sense, we should have understanding, we should have the idea of teaching aptitude. What is teaching aptitude, or what is the role of a teacher, or what is the role of a student, or what is the role of school. Okay, so certain questions I have outlined here. So we are starting these questions, and these are in an MCQ forms. So first question is there. First, teacher, which of the following methods would be correct for writing on the blackboard? So here the question is regarding blackboard. Yes, the skill of blackboard. So for a teacher, which of the following methods would be correct for writing on the blackboard? So which is correct method? So let's find out. Writing fast and as clearly as possible. So first option is writing fast and as clearly as possible. Second one is writing the matter first and then asking students to read it. So writing the matter first, and then after we can ask students to read it. Then asking the question to students and then writing the answer as stated by them. Then writing the important points as clearly as possible. So friends, what can be the right answer? We have to find out. Okay, so here many methods are mentioned here under this question, and the question is regarding the correct method for writing on the blackboard. So which can be the right method? So friends, it is here. Answer number D is right. Writing the important points as clearly as possible, because clarity is very much necessary when we are teaching the students. The clarity in speaking as well as in visual, with visual aids. Yes, on blackboard we have to write with clear words, with clear sentences, with clear letters, so that students can identify it properly and learn it properly. So clarity is very much important. So the correct method, the best method for writing the on blackboard is writing the important points as clearly as possible. Then the next one is a teacher can be successful if he or she, options are, helps students in becoming better citizens, imparts subject knowledge to students, prepares students to pass the examination, presents the subject matter in a well-organized manner. So which can be the correct answer, friends? So first of all, let's read the statement, the question once again. A teacher can be successful if he or she, okay, he or she will do one of these things, then he will be successful or she will be successful. So what can be the correct answer? The correct answer is once again D, presents the subject matter in a well organized manner. Okay, so subject matter, the content is very much important in any teaching classroom. Okay, in teaching learning process, it is very much important thing, the content of the subject, and how to present it, how to organize the whole content, and how to make it available to the students. That is very much important, because we should avoid the disturbances, we should avoid the complexities while presenting this subject matter. So a teacher can be successful only if he or she presents the subject matter in a well organized manner. Okay, subject matter in a well organized manner. Then dynamic approach to teaching means, here is an approach mentioned. Okay, dynamic approach. So what does it mean to teaching? So dynamic approach to teaching means teaching should be forceful or and effective. Teachers should be energetic and dynamic. The topics of teaching should not be static but dynamic, or the students should be required to learn through activities. So friends, here four options are there. We have to identify the right one option. So the right option is D. The students should be required to learn through activities. So friends, dynamic approach means the student should be required to learn through activities. So there are so many activities that a teacher should do in the classroom. Then only this approach will be successful. This dynamic approach will be successful. And as its name suggests, it is dynamic. So once you provide the activities for learning, then your teaching learning process will be dynamic. Okay, so teaching through activities or learning through activities is very much required on the part of students to follow this dynamic approach. Then the best method of teaching is to impart information, ask students to read books, suggest good reference material, or initiate a discussion and participate in it. So which one is the best teaching method? If you are a teacher, or if you are going to be a teacher, if you have a common sense of a teacher, then you can answer this question very easily. So best method for teaching is D. Initiate a discussion and participate in it. Sorry. So best method is when we discuss with the students, when we participate with them, when we create such a climate in which the students can discuss on any topic, or they can participate with each other, or and even a teacher can participate with the students. That will be the best method of teaching, and the effective learning will happen there, and the learning climate will be created there with this method. So the best method of teaching is to initiate a discussion and participate as well in it. Then interaction inside the classroom should generate argument, information, ideas, or controversy. So which one is the right one? Interaction. Interaction means discussion inside the classroom. The teacher student discussion maybe, or discussion between students and students, and one way or two way discussions will be there, okay, in the classroom. So it should generate whether argument, information, ideas, or controversy. Which one is the correct answer according to you? It is C, ideas. Okay, because ideas, thoughts, new ideas and new thoughts should be generated, should be constructed or created in the classroom with the use of interaction with the students. So interaction is generally a process in which the new ideas are created or generated by the teacher and the students. Okay, but with the discussion and participation in the different types of activities in classroom. So interaction inside the classroom should generate ideas. Then spare the rod and spoil the child gives the message that punishment in the class should be banned, corporal punishment is not acceptable, undesirable behavior must be punished, children should be beaten with rods. So here one statement is given, spare the rod and spoil the child. So it means avoid rod, okay, avoid punishing the students, and it will spoil the child. And it gives a message that undesirable behavior must be punished. Option number C is right here, because whenever undesirable behavior is there, it must be punished, because sometimes some punishment is needed there, because undesirable behavior will need such punishment, otherwise this child will be spoiled. Okay, so spare the rod and spoil the child means undesirable behavior must be punished. Then at the primary school stage, most of these teachers should be women, because they can teach children better than men, know better content better than basic content better than men, are available on lower salaries, can deal with children with love and affection. So what can be the right answer? Because here it is very basic common thought that at primary school stage most of the teachers should be women. Okay, women teachers are mostly appointed in the primary school stage. In fact, in pre-primary stage, women teachers are appointed. So the answer is D. Women can deal with children with love and affection, because generally girls have that affection and feelings which are very much important for the small children. Okay, so they can deal with children with love and affection. That's why at primary school stage most of the teachers should be women. Then a person can enjoy teaching as a profession when he has control over students, commands respect from students, is more qualified than his colleagues, and is very closer to higher authorities. So which one is the correct and most appropriate option here? A person can enjoy teaching as a profession, okay, only when he commands respect from students. It is very much important. Okay, he is achieving respect, he is getting respect from the students. Then only a person in the role of a teacher can enjoy teaching as a profession. Okay, other options are not at all appropriate. Okay, so appropriate option is commands respect from students. So getting respect from students is very important for a teacher. Effective teaching is a function of teachers' satisfaction, teachers' honesty and commitment, teachers making students learn and understand, teachers liking for professional excellence. So which one is the correct answer for the effective teaching function? What is the function of effective teaching? So here is the right answer. C is the right answer. Teachers making students learn and understand. So teachers are making students learn and understand. That is the right function of effective teaching, because effective teaching will include learning and understanding on the part of students in a better way. Okay, because learning with understanding, that will happen in effective teaching only. Next, the most appropriate meaning of learning is acquisition of skills, modification of behavior, personal adjustment, inculcation of knowledge. So here we have four different options for the question, the most appropriate meaning of learning. So here the meaning of learning is asked. So what can be the meaning of learning according to you? Sorry. So certainly it will be B, modification of behavior, because when we teach someone, okay, so our objective is to modify his or her behavior. Okay, that is modification of behavior on the part of the students. So learning will be done with keeping in mind the aim of modification of behavior of the students. So most appropriate meaning here for learning is modification of behavior. Then teachers' role at higher education level is provide information to students, promote self-learning in students, encourage healthy competition among students, help students to solve their problems. So once again, the question, teacher's role at higher education level. So here the role of teacher is regarding the university education, the higher education, where the students are very young. Okay, younger students are there. uh, for example, mature students are there in higher education. So here what can be the right answer? So the right answer is B, promoting self-learning in students. So the role of teacher here in university education is to promote self-learning, to help them for their self-learning and to facilitate them. But the most of the works will be done by the students with their self-learning, with self-help, we can say. Okay, students here will help themselves, their own self, to learn any topic. Here the teacher is only to promote all these things, to facilitate all these things. So his role at higher education level is to promote self-learning in students. Then a good teacher must be resourceful or autocratic, and resourceful and participative. resourceful and authoritative, or resourceful and dominant. So once again, four options. A good teacher must be. How should be a good teacher? What qualities are there in a good teacher? So here four different qualities in the options. First quality is common in all the options. Resourceful is there. Okay, resources should be there available with the teacher. But the second quality is to be understood properly, because autocratic and authoritative and dominant mean the same thing. Okay, we should not be authoritative in the classroom. We have to give them chances to speak, opportunity to express in the classroom. So resourceful and participative, it will be the right option here. Okay friends, so resources and participation of the teacher. A good teacher must be participative in the classroom and also resourceful. Then which one of the following types of evaluation assesses the learning progress to provide continuous feedback to both teachers and students during instruction? So here very long question it is, and we have to identify the proper feedback. Okay, here we have options: placement evaluation, formative evaluation, diagnostic evaluation, and summative evaluation. So friends, here four different types of evaluation are given in the options, and the question is which of the following types of evaluation assesses the learning progress. So one type of evaluation will assess the learning progress to provide continuous feedback to both teachers and students during instructional process. So many important terms are there. Assessing the learning progress, and for what? For providing continuous feedback, and during the classroom teaching work. Okay, so here the teacher's role is during the classroom interaction. And which evaluation assessment, which evaluation type is very much important here? So it is formative evaluation. Formative evaluation means evaluation which is done in the classroom by the teacher on any topic, whatever topic he is taught to the students. Then after after teaching that topic, teacher will assess the students. Teacher will examine the students through different techniques of evaluation. Okay, by written paper or by oral questioning. So formative evaluation will help teacher to provide feedback as well in the classroom interaction. So it will actually the very important type of evaluation in the classroom teaching learning process. That's why it is formative evaluation. Then which one of the following is considered a sign of motivated teaching? Motivated teaching, a symbol of motivated teaching. Okay, so students asking questions, or maximum attendance of the students, or pin drop silence in the classroom, or students taking notes. So which one is correct according to you? Here we have to identify a sign of motivated teaching, a symbol of motivated teaching in which we can motivate the students. So which one is the correct answer, friends? The correct answer is A. Certainly it will be the right one, because students asking questions, that is a big sign of motivated teaching. Without motivating students, they will not ask question in the classroom. Okay, because motivation provides them a platform, a backbone for asking a question, for expressing themselves in the classroom. Okay, so asking a question is a big sign of motivation in the classroom for a teacher. Then which one of the following is the best method of teaching? So here we have to find out the best method of teaching. Here we have options: lecture, discussion, demonstration, and narration. So four different types are there for teaching methods. All these are teaching methods, but which one is the best one? Okay, most appropriate teaching method. So it is C. Demonstration basically includes audio plus visual more than audio. So visual, when students uh, see the visual things, okay, they can understand it better, in a better way. So the best method of these all four will be demonstration method, in which a teacher can demonstrate something, to teach something, okay, to make the learning more and more effective. He will demonstrate something in front of the students in the form of video, in the form of realia, in the form of different materials. Okay, so demonstration will be the best method, more effective than lecture, discussion, or narration. Then the use of teaching aids is justified on the grounds of attracting students' attention in the classroom, minimizing indiscipline problems in the classroom, optimizing learning outcomes of students, or effective engagement of students in learning tasks. So here the use of teaching aids is justified on the grounds of. So use of teaching aids here is asked, and when it is justified, how it is justified, and on which ground it is justified by the teachers. So the answer is C, optimizing learning outcomes of students. Okay, learning outcomes. So whatever the students have learned, they will just express in the classroom. So increasing such expressions in the classroom, increasing their answers, their development in the particular topic, we can justify the use of teaching aid. If we have used such aid, we can, which can increase such expressions, such understanding on the part of students, it will be justified. Okay, so optimizing, increasing learning outcomes of students is very much important when we use teaching aids, and it is also one benefit of teaching aid. Okay, it is one benefit of using teaching aid, that in which we are just increasing students outcome, learning outcomes in a better way. Then identify the important element a teacher has to take cognizance of while addressing students in a classroom. So here we have to identify one important element a teacher has to take cognizance of while addressing students in a classroom. The options are avoidance of proximity, voice modulation, repetitive pause, and fixed posture. So four different options are given here, and we have to identify one important element which a teacher use while addressing students in a classroom. So which can be the right answer, friends? So it is B, voice modulation. Voice modulation is very much important here, because when we address the students, they are listening to us, and when they are listening to us, if we are not with good voice, with audibility, with proper audible voice, then it will not be a good classroom. They will not listen to us. It will look monotonous, okay, and not effective as well. So voice modulation, up and down in voice, okay, voice modulation. So in this way we have to address the students in the classroom. Okay, we have to also maintain the eye contact with some of the students while addressing them in the classroom, and it is very important element, okay, more than anything else written here in the options. So voice modulation is very important here. Then as a teacher, select the best option to ensure your effective presence in the classroom. So what can be the right option for ensuring your effective presence in the classroom? So use of peer command is there, or making aggressive statements, or adoption of well-established posture, or being authoritarian. So here many options are given, friends. Four options are there. As a teacher, we have to find out one right option, okay, to ensure your effective presence in the classroom. You are present in the classroom, in the end what type of attire, what type of gesture or posture or personality you have to keep with you at that time. That is very important, friends. And the best option here is C, adoption of well-established posture. Okay, we have to be well-mannered there. We have to be well-established with good posture there. Okay, there it will ensure the effective presence of of us in the classroom. Otherwise, the students will not be in control. Okay, will not be in your control if you are not in well-established posture in the classroom while addressing the students, while teaching them, while asking them, while listening them. It is very much important to adopt such well-established posture in the classroom, to stand properly, to sit properly, to move properly here and there in the classroom. These small things are very, very important. Then, in which teaching method learners' participation is made optimal and proactive? So here 4 different teaching methods are outlined. First one is discussion method, then buzz session method, then brainstorming session method, and project method. So all the 4 methods are very famous, and here we have to identify one particular, one appropriate method in which the learner's participation is made optimal and proactive. Optimal and proactive means active participation on the part of the students, on the part of the learners, okay, in which they can participate with their answers, with their expressions, and with their questions as well. So which one is the correct option? So option number D is the correct one, project method. In project method, a group is created of these learners, and this, in this particular group, all the students have to participate in the learning process. They are given some responsibility by the leader of the group, and the leader will lead them to the better solution of that problem given in the project. Okay, so group is very important here, and the participation by all the students is here very active and optimal. So project method is very proper option here. Next, which of the following learner characteristics is highly related to effectiveness of teaching? So here many characteristics of learner are mentioned, and we have to identify the highly related characteristic to effectiveness of teaching. So here the options are prior experience of the learner, educational status of the parents of the learner, or peer groups of the learner, or family size from which the learner comes. So here we have to identify one particular characteristic which is highly related to effectiveness of teaching. So friends, when we want to make our teaching more and more effective, the first option will be correct. Prior experience of the learner, prior knowledge we can say, okay, pre-knowledge we can say. So when the students have pre-knowledge, we can ask them questions, we can derive some answers from them, from their answers, from their expressions on anything. Okay, so different types of questions we can ask based on their pre-knowledge, and such pre-knowledge, such prior experience will going to help to the teacher a lot for the effectiveness of his teaching, because after such pre-experience questions of the learners, the class will be very active and effective. Okay, so students will be motivated, and they will engage in the class, they will engage in the classroom activities with the teacher. So that is very important characteristic on the part of the learner. Then, for maintaining an effective discipline in the class, the teacher should allow students to do what they like, deal with the students strictly, give the students some problem to solve, deal with them politely and firmly. So here we have 4 options for maintaining an effective discipline in the class. What should the teacher do to maintain the discipline in the class? So what can be the right answers? friend. So the right answer is D. Deal with them politely and firmly without getting angry, without being authoritative on them, without creating a chaos-like atmosphere in the classroom. When a teacher wants to create a climate of effective discipline in the classroom, he should deal with the students in a polite and firm manner. Then the next question is, sorry, those teachers are popular among students who develop intimacy with them, help them solve their problems, award good grades, or take classes on extra tuition fee. So which types of teacher are popular among students? We have to identify. So certainly it will be B, help them solve their problems. Basically, students are having many problems, small and big problems. Sometimes family issues are there, psychological problems are there, or personal problems are there, or problems regarding the school are there. So at that time, the teachers have to identify such problems, have to observe the students and identify such problems and help them solve their problems. So here such teacher will be more popular than any other. Then on the first day of his class, if a teacher is asked by the students to introduce himself, he should ask them to meet after the class, tell them about himself in brief, ignore the demand and start teaching, or scold the two students for this unwanted demand. So what can be the right answer, friends? It is the very first day of the class, and a teacher is asked by the students to introduce himself. They are asking for the teacher's introduction. So what can be the right option here? So here the right option is B. Tell them about himself in a brief. Very briefly, a teacher has to tell about himself to the students. Okay, so because we cannot scold them for the because it is not an unwanted demand by the students. They can ask, and as a teacher, as a friend, we can share our introduction with them. We can introduce ourselves to the students. It is not a big deal, and it is not an unwanted demand by them, and we can answer them in a brief manner. Okay, briefly we can introduce ourselves. Then moral values can be effectively inculcated among these students when the teacher frequently talks about values, himself practices them, tells stories of great persons, or talks of gods and goddesses. So moral values are here. Moral values can be effectively inculcated among the students when the teacher, what can be the right answer, friends? Because here the role of a teacher as a moral preacher, we can say, he has to inculcate some values into the students. But how? So right answer is B. Himself practices them. So practice on the part of teacher is very important, because once you practice by your own self, you are practicing it, you have inculcated it in your personality, then only you can preach others or teach others. Okay, and when you have all these things, the students will automatically be motivated by you and will start imitate you. Okay, and so first thing is to be a role model of the students in this matter, because once when we follow the values, students will follow us, and certainly they will follow the values as well. So himself practicing of these moral values is very important for the teacher to inculcate among the students. Then the last question is, when some students are deliberately attempting to disturb the discipline of the class by making mischief, what will be your role as a teacher? It's a very practical question it is, and a real situation is seen sometimes in a classroom when some students are there deliberately attempting to disturb you in the classroom, or disturb the discipline of the class by making mischief. Okay, so disturbances are there by the students. So what will be your role as a teacher? So first option is expelling those students, or isolating those students, or reform the group with your authority, or giving them an opportunity for introspection and improve their behavior. So what can be the right answer, friends? So certainly the right answer is D, giving them an opportunity for introspection and improve their behavior. But we should not give them direct instruction. We should create such a climate in which we can just redirect them for introspection and improve their behavior. Okay, because sometimes we are scolding them, and at such time their mischief is just increased, not decreased but increased. So giving them an opportunity, a new opportunity for introspection, okay, looking at their own self and improve by their own thinking, and uh, improve their behavior, it is very important. So teacher's role is to give them such an opportunity while such condition is created in the classroom. Okay, so he should not isolate students, he should not reform the group with the authority, because it will just increase such things. So having a practical solution is providing them opportunity, a chance to improve their behavior. So friends, that's all for today. Here I have attempted to solve out many questions, and these are very important questions for teaching aptitude in paper 1. So friends, here some of the thumbnails I have attached for this to look into the videos I have created. So friends, you can subscribe to my channel, you can watch my videos on free of cost. You will get a lot of help uh, by these videos, because these are always exam oriented. And you can also follow me on these social media platforms, friends. So friends, for today that's all, and thank you very much for listening me. So thank you so much, friends.